This video is going to cover some topics on self-awareness, but I wanted to tell you guys first, the information was gathered by my friend at Insight Junkie. Go check out his channel for more videos like this. So self-awareness is the biggest asset that you can have if you want to be successful in life. It is what you need in order to choose the right career, the right relationship, and the right social circle. If you have to get from one city to another, you have to know which city you are in right now on the map. Similarly, self-awareness is like knowing where you are on the map of life, so that you can chart a course to your destination. Here are 4 tips on developing self-awareness, and he's even included a bonus tip. Number 1, keep a journal. So the first tip to become more self-aware is to keep a journal. Numerous studies have shown that people who keep a journal are more happy and are also more successful. Now, it doesn't have to be a very time-intensive task if you don't want it to be. The whole point of this exercise is to become more in tune of how you are feeling every day, and then look back and reflect on it. Something that I like to think a lot about with regards to keeping a journal is that the value of writing is not in the writing of itself, but in reading it when you're in a different state of mind. However, I'd like to draw a very clear distinction between keeping a journal and writing a diary. While writing a diary does not really have an end goal apart from just writing down your feelings and what happened that day, keeping a journal has a very direct purpose, and that is personal evolution. In order to get you started with writing a journal, here's a basic structure inspired by Tim Ferriss. Every morning before you do anything else, write down 3 things that are bothering you the most. Then write down 3 things that you're grateful for. In addition to this, I also like to write down my tasks for the day. Then I write down whatever else I feel like writing. And then, at the end of the day before going to bed, you should write down a few words about how you felt that day, the events that occurred, and other stuff. Now this is for you to vent and to document your thoughts. You can also write down the task that you plan to do for the next day. Keep doing this every day for at least a month to make it a habit. And every weekend, go back through your journal and look at everything that you wrote the previous week. Once you start to do this enough, you will begin to see patterns in your behavior. Patterns that you couldn't see before. Maybe you realize that your interactions with your neighbor really do make your day better. So you should start hanging out with them more. Maybe you'll realize that whenever you eat junk food for lunch, the rest of your day becomes unbearable. So start eating healthier. Whatever you can measure, you can improve. And keeping a journal is the best way to measure self-awareness. It doesn't matter if it's digital or in a traditional notebook, all that matters is that you are consistent. Tip number 2 is to make an 18-month plan. So, according to Peter Drucker, the author of Managing Oneself, if you don't know where your strengths and weaknesses are, you should make an 18-month plan. Before taking any key decision in your life, write down what you expect to happen 18 months later. Now this time frame of 18 months is very important. The reason it's chosen to be 18 months is because it's neither too short so that your goals seem too big to achieve, nor is it too long of a time frame so that you don't even want to work on it. I think this can be particularly helpful when deciding which career you want to pursue. If you want to become a graphic designer, before starting, write down what you expect the outcome of this job to be 18 months down the road. Write down your expectations, your hopes, what action you're going to take. Then, when the 18 months are up, compare your reality to what you wrote down. Now you will be able to deduce where your strengths and weaknesses are. Maybe you didn't do so well in group projects that involve a lot of people. Maybe you work really well under stress though. Whatever it is you find, try not to identify yourself on the basis of your strengths and weaknesses. I think of life as an RPG game, and each person has various attributes that can be improved incrementally. With that being said, once you find out what your base strengths are, you need to double down on them, which brings me to my next point. Number 3, always play to your strengths. It's much easier to play in the NBA if you're 7 foot tall versus if you're 5 foot tall. It's much easier to become a public speaker if you naturally have thick skin. The point is, in life, you're going to have certain predispositions to certain activities. It could be in you since you were born, or that you have acquired it through your childhood. Whatever the case may be, it's much easier to work on your strengths rather than to improve on your weaknesses. And in order to do this, you're going to have to get rid of any romantic notions that you had about your life and be very honest with yourself. If you always thought that you wanted to be a computer programmer, but you tend to do your best work in outdoor activities, then maybe it's best for you to pick a career that is more outdoors. It will be far easier to leverage your natural strengths than working hard on improving a weakness, which won't give nearly as many returns. There's also a part of the problem with education systems around the world. Standardized tests weren't built to measure your strengths and weaknesses. Like they say, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. When you figure out what your strengths and start applying them in the right places, you're going to have a much easier time entering the state of flow, like we talked about in the earlier video. And the last tip is to ask your family and friends. Even after journaling and introspecting, you may not be able to find all of your strengths and weaknesses. Some things are only visible from the outside, which is why you will need the help from your family and friends. Figure out 10 people in your life who you trust, people you can rely on to give you honest feedback, and ask them what they think your strengths and weaknesses are. If you have a hard time doing this in person, you can also send them an email or a message on Facebook. While you're asking them this, be sure to tell them that they can be 100% honest with you and that you won't take offense to anything they have to say. but you have to be true to it too. Most people will have a hard time being completely honest with you, so let them know that you're comfortable with them being brutally honest. After you get everyone's responses, you're going to have a good amount of data to analyze yourself with. The best thing that you can do with this exercise is that if most people's responses overlap, then you will immediately know a fact about yourself. So for example, if you thought that you were a good listener, but 8 out of 10 people that you asked said that they wished you were a better listener, then that is something that you need to work on. And then other things won't overlap. Keep them in your mind and see if any of them holds true. Not everything that everyone else has to say about you will be true, but it will be in your best interest to at least give it a thought. Now the bonus tip is meditation. Meditation is a really helpful tool that has gained a lot of popularity recently, and for good reasons. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated, and you can do it in 10 minutes before starting your day. Insight Junkie does it right after writing his journal. Simply sit still for 10 minutes and focus on your breath. Observe your thoughts, and keep your mind still. Don't get annoyed if you get a lot of random thoughts. That is simply part of the process. You will soon realize how much chatter there really is going on your mind, and all you have to do is be patient and let the thoughts pass. This helps tremendously in taking control of your thoughts, which lends itself perfectly to becoming more self-aware. Now on a personal note, I want to say that self-awareness is really important to me. It is one of the main reasons that I dropped out of engineering school. I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. And I couldn't be the best in my field if I didn't enjoy it. And I want to wish all of you best of luck at becoming more self-aware. I want to say a big thank you to Insight Junkie for coming up with this script and coming up with a lot of the information for this script. Go check out his channel for some awesome videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.